Hello, good morning to all. Today, first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Nikhat Fatima from Government GG College, Islamabad. Today's our topic is An Astrologer's Day, which is written by R.K. Narayan. He was a well-known Indian writer of English fiction. As a first-generation Indian novelist who wrote in English, he caught the attention of the Western world through his friend, the British novelist Graham Greene. Narayan was essentially a storyteller whose sensitive, well-drawn portrayals of 20th century Indian life teem with fascinating characters. The simplicity of his language, his realistic settings, and endearing characters have made him one of the most well loved writers of India. His stories also resonate with humor and irony. R.K. Narayan published more than 10 novels and many short stories, and his works have been translated into several Indian and European languages. His popular works include The Bachelor of Arts, Malgudi Days, Waiting for the Mahatma, The Guide, and The Man Eater of Malgudi. Okay. The theme of the present story, An Astrologer's Day, is irony of fate, religion and blind faith, crime and punishment, human greed, karma, that is tit for tat. Okay, and the features of the story are the ironical fact about the protagonist is that a gambler and a murderer who is ignorant of his own future has become an astrologer. The writer reveals how the only qualification needed to be an astrologer in India is saffron clothes, a few charts, and tilak, and a keen observation of human nature along with a presence of mind. And the astrologer should have been greatly relieved that he is not a murderer after all, and he has managed to put Guru Nayak off. Okay, he has managed to put Guru Nayak off, and he should not have bothered about how much money he had received. Yet when he realizes Nayak has cheated him of some money, he is angry. And the story is that an unnamed village in India, an astrologer lays out his tools of the trade, a mix of cowrie shells, obscure charts, a notebook, and other such curious items. They serve no purpose but to create the illusion of mysticism. Okay, the astrologer has also painted his forehead with sacred ash, wrapped his head in a turban, and seated himself and his gear beneath a large tree. All of these things serve to give him an air of wisdom, transcendence, and prophetic power. Through the narrator is quick to point out that none of these qualities actually belong to the man. The astrologer has set up his little shop amidst a busy marketplace among people fencing stolen goods, presenting the same cheap food as a variety of gourmet delicacies, and auctioning of low quality fabrics. The astrologer, quickly established as a fraud, is in the company of other fraudsters and spin doctors, telling their wares and making their livings. The marketplace is lit by various shop lights and flares, the dancing shadows of which enhance the astrologer's mystical quality. He notably has no light of his own, but simply borrows that of the other vendors. The astrologer had never had any intention of becoming one, but had been forced to leave his ancestral home and travel several hundred miles away with no plan and no money. Even so, he is a convincing holy man, using his own insights into human problems to offer vague but comforting advice to people in the market. He functions as a sort of therapist, offering self affirming advice that he wraps in the guise of astrological wisdom. He is good at his trade. He tells people what they want to hear and they leave comforted by it. Though it is not an honest living that the astrologer makes, it is still a well earned one. As the marketplace is emptying and the lights are being put out, a strange named Guru Nayak appears in the darkness. Neither can see much of other's face. Seeing the opportunity for one more client, the astrologer invites Guru Nayak to sit and chat. The stranger does so, but is instantly skeptical of the astrologer. He aggressively wagers that the astrologer cannot tell him anything true or worthwhile. They haggle over the price, and the astrologer agrees. However, when Guru Nayak lights a cheroot, the astrologer catches a brief glimpse of the man's face and is filled with fear. He tries to get out of the wager, but Guru Nayak holds him to it and will not let him leave. The astrologer tries his usual tack of vague, self affirming advice, but Guru Nayak will have none of it. The astrologer sincerely plays for a moment and then changes course. He reveals to Guru Nayak that he knows he was once stabbed through the chest and left for dead, and that now Guru Nayak is here searching for his assailant. He even reveals that he knows Guru Nayak's name, something he attributes to his cosmic wisdom. Guru Nayak is greatly excited by all of this, believing the astrologer truly be all knowing. He presses the astrologer for the whereabouts of the man who stabbed him so that he can have his revenge. The astrologer tells him that he died several months ago, crushed by an oncoming lorry. Guru Nayak is frustrated by this but satisfied that at least his attacker died terribly. He gives the astrologer his money and leaves. The astrologer arrives home late at night and shows his wife the money he has made, becoming briefly bitter when he realizes that although Guru Nayak has paid him a great sum, it is not quite as much as promised. Even so, his wife is thrilled. As they lie down to sleep, the astrologer reveals to his wife that a great burden has been lifted off his shoulders. Years ago, the astrologer was the one to stab Guru Nayak and leave him for dead, which forced him to flee his home and make a new life as a fraudulent astrologer. He had thought himself to be a murderer, but was now content that he had not in fact taken a life. Satisfied by this, he goes to sleep. Okay, so this is the story. This is the story of an astrologer's day. Thank you.